అందులో ఓపెన్ అవుతుందా? మెయిల్ నా మెయిల్. జూమ్ లేదా? జూమ్ లేదా?
Should we start? So we shall begin the session, and I request all of you to please stay in mute. We will have a Q&A session towards the end where you can unmute yourself for any questions that you would like to ask the experts. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited came into existence on June 2017, and we congratulate the team of TIHCL upon its completion of 3 years this June 2020. The constitution of TIHCL as an NBFC is one of its kind in the country, and FTCCI appreciates the effort of TIHCL to prevent sickness of micro and small manufacturing units, and also congratulate on getting the board approval to go pan-India. I welcome Mr. Divya Suresh Kumar, MD and CEO, Dr. B. Yerram Raju, Advisor and Director, and Ms. Divya Sai Sree, Executive Operations from the TIHCL, Government of Telangana. I also welcome our President, Mr. Ramakant Inani, Vice President, Mr. Anil Agarwal, and Mr. Shri, who's joined us for the VC, the Chair of the Industrial Development Committee. Welcome to you all. The recent pandemic has changed our approach in dealing with our lives, and the FTCCI rose to the occasion and has been facilitating and supporting the MSMEs in the best possible way, though virtually. So today's VC is one of its kind, which will strengthen the MSE sector and give them an opportunity to tackle the challenges with the adequate resources that the Telangana state government has provided us. So now I request our President, Mr. Ramakant Inani, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Ms. Kathy. On behalf of Federation of Telangana Chambers of Commerce and Industry, I welcome Dr. B. Yerram Raju, Advisor and Director, TIHCL, Government of Telangana, Shri Dr. D.V. Suresh Kumar, MD and CEO, Telangana TIHCL, Mr. Anil Agarwal, Vice President, FTCCI, Mr. Srinivas Garimella, Chair, Industrial Development Committee, FTCCI, Management Committee members and Past President of FTCCI, members of FTCCI, good afternoon, and participants, good afternoon. The Government of Telangana established Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited, that is TIHCL, to guide, mentor and support manufacturing, micro and small units by providing financial assistance since year 2017. MSE and MSMEs are significant driver of the growth of the Indian economy, and we are all aware of the importance of both MSE and MSME sector in creation of jobs, improving GDP, and in decentralization of industries, leading to a balanced regional development. The most important sector, however, is unfortunately the most neglected sector and is beset with many problems. The incidence of sickness of MSE sector is more because of their limited capabilities to take the risk and cannot have economics of large-scale production. They are also vulnerable to financial stress on account of delayed payments by buyers, including government departments and public sector units. There is need to identify sickness in the initial stages and initiate the process of corrective measures and revive rehabilitation before the sickness assumes a serious proportion. We appreciate the efforts of Government of Telangana to take the initiative to float an NBFC to address the problem of sickness in MSE sector and to identify the sickness, onset of sickness at an early stage and take preemptive measures. We hope that this facility will be, in due course, will be extended to MSMEs sector also. The recent pandemic has affected MSE sector due to lockdown and various other constraints such as supply chain disruption, cash flow crunch, employee management and safety, and many units were forced to shut. The portfolio product of this health clinic, that is TIHCL, such as bridge loan, stress asset finance, credit financing and margin amount funding, concessional rate of interest for women entrepreneurs under NARI scheme, composite loans with flexible repayments and withdrawals to new MSE enterprises established by women, etc., will help MSE manufacturing sector gain strength. To create awareness of the role of TIHCL in mitigating the financial stress, this webinar is organized by FTCCI. We thank Dr. Yerram Raju Garu, Mr. Suresh Kumar Garu for sparing their time to interact with our members and other participants from the industry sector. And I am confident that today's meeting will be productive by helping the units in need. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Renani. May I now request the Chair of the Industrial Development Committee, Mr. Shri, to kindly give his introductory remarks.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Kyati. Thank you. Very warm welcome to the TIHCL team of Yerram Raju Garu, Suresh Kumar Garu, Divya Sai Sree. Welcome to FTCCI President Ramakanji, Bhaskar Reddy Garu, and Anil Agarwalji, all the MC members, past presidents, and all the members who are participating in this all-important webinar. As we are all aware, MSMEs are presently the backbone in India for employment generation. And it is highly critical and very important for us as a nation to keep them healthy and make them grow. More than 90% of MSMEs are of proprietary ownership. And in India, we have a skewed distribution of micro, small, and medium enterprises, as opposed to MSMEs the world over or even the emerging economies. In India, 90% of MSMEs are micro, while only 10% of the enterprise are small and medium. In Western countries, we have it is 50%, 40%, 30%. So there's more equitable distribution of MSMEs. In India, we have something called as a missing middle class. Hence, scaling up of MSME is becoming very, very difficult. Now, this is where India needs to buck up, pull up its socks, and ensure that the MSME, which is a backbone in terms of employment generation, is looked upon as a very, very important sector. And we'll have to see how to make them grow. If you look at Telangana state, almost 1.8 to 2 million jobs are generated by MSMEs. That means we're talking about approximately 2 million families are directly affected by either the growth of it or the lack of it. Similarly, exports from in India, 50%, 40 to 50% comes from MSMEs, while in Telangana state, we have 60% coming from MSMEs. So in Telangana, MSMEs have taken a little lead role in the development of the state, and that's one of the reasons why the Telangana government is looking at TIHCL to ensure that the growth remains as it is. One of the biggest challenges faced by MSME is access to formal finance. Forget the Western world, even in the emerging economies like Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, or our neighboring country, Sri Lanka, around 20% of MSMEs have access to formal finance. Whereas in India, we have only 4 to 5% of MSMEs have access to formal finance. Now, as per an IMS report, it is said that people having access to formal finance have a return on capital employed of 19%, as opposed to people who don't have access to formal finance, where the profitability can come down dramatically down. MSMEs, while grappling and juggling with growth, profitability, quality of products, workmanship, sales and marketing, operations, finance, and while doing all this, when juggling with all this, they intend to sacrifice one for another. This is where the Telangana government has stepped in with this unique idea of Telangana Industrial Health Clinic, which is a non-profit body to aid, help, and grow MSMEs in the state. I'm sure all the members listening in will benefit from this webinar, And in case of any questions that you have, please leave them in the box. And FTCC, if we have the time, we'll take it up with the ST members right away. In case we run out of time, we will list them down and get back to them after having them answered with the experts. Now, I would like to end this and leave it to the TIHCL team to enlighten us on how they can help the MSMEs grow and thrive successfully. Thank you. Over to TIHCL team.
Thank you, Mr. Gerrimella. I now invite Mr. D.V. Suresh Kumar, MD and CEO Telangana from the TIHCL, Government of Telangana, to deliver the special address on challenges and opportunities for MSMEs in Telangana.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon to the President, Vice President, and the other governing members of the FTCCI and the other participants, MSME entrepreneurs, and others. Good afternoon once again. I'm happy to associate myself from TIHCL to have interaction with you on this issue. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, right. The subject of the challenges of MSMEs or the opportunities has been well discussed, well thought about, and publicized many times in papers, articles published. Of course, in view of the fact that the MSME continues to contribute to the GDP of the economy in a huge way, and at the same time, it also generates a lot of employment. No need to, of course, right now to reel out the figures as such, as Mr. Gerrimella already has said, a good amount of information about this MSME segment. At the same time, also it's relevant because the issues and the problems continue to persist. It's not that they have come down, or it is not that they have gone up, but they continue to persist. And the number of percentage of MSMEs having formal financing also is low. More importantly, the subject also is green, and the issues continue not only on account of the structural problems that we have, but also on account of the dynamics of business, which have been changing, and the change has been drastic in the last 1 decade. Anyway, let us come down to the challenges of MSMEs. Here, as a ex-banker, I would like to place myself in the shoes of first MSME entrepreneur and secondly as banker, so that my engagement with you will be truthful and meaningful. So the challenges are many for the MSMEs. We can broadly categorize as financial and non-financial, but the perception in general outside is that the main challenge is access to finance and more of a financial challenges. But the fact remains that there are enough non-financial challenges are also there, but they are not normally highlighted. It is only said mostly the issues relate to the access to finance. Of course, it is a fact that access to finance is a very, very key and important factor in promoting the MSMEs. This can be addressed in 2 ways in order to actually make a meaningful meaningful discussion and understanding between the, particularly with the MSME entrepreneurs, is to look at the issue as a theory and practice. If you look at the access to finance, it has to be seen as a theory and practice. Theory, of course, we all know that there are different types of products which are being used to finance the MSMEs. And my understanding is that there is not much of a demand from the MSME segment as to have a new products. In the sense, the existing products, along with their variants, are by and large sufficient, excepting some or two exotic products which the MSMEs do not need. They only corporates need it. Having said that, the second important point of this theory is that the banks, the way they finance, formal financing, is governed by a set of policies, procedures, rules, which have been set by the government, Reserve Bank of India, and also, of course, the individual managements of the banks. All these 3 combinations actually provide a set of framework within which the bankers are supposed to, finance. This kind of framework within which the bankers actually deal with the MSEs, there is a school of thought that the framework itself needs to undergo a change. Otherwise, the extent to which the requirements of the MSMEs can be satisfied is limited. This is one thought anyway. Okay. Then second thing is, having said about theory a little bit, second thing is practice. What actually is happening on the ground? Before going with practice, one more thing that I would like to talk about in order to have a proper engagement and understanding with the entrepreneurial clients is
Please.
Just go to gallery mode.
It is everything.
helping hand when the MSMEs need. Bankers, most bankers are good at understanding of the theory, good at processing, good at appraisals, but need not necessarily to good at finally giving a helping hand when actually there is a financial crunch or a financial need or liquidity crunch for the MSMEs. Second point is bankers are still traditional in their approach. Like, always seeking for the collaterals, always seeking for documentation, etc. And sanction, renewal, enhancement are not timely. They do, of course. But the time actually it gets done, there will be huge delays, sometimes even months also. And there is too much of documentation. The paperwork is too much. Still, as I said, the collaterals continue to play an important role. Those companies having good collateral are preferred than those who do not. Not only collateral, even value also. Another very important aspect which the MSMEs always complain, which they actually face day-to-day issues, is the extent of flexibility that the bankers have while dealing with MSEs. My talk normally goes towards more skewed towards the micro and small than a larger medium. The flexibility depends. But the flexibility in handling the micro and small and their needs is very, very low, which is the major cause of concern for the MSME businesses. And the dependence on documentation, ratings, and certifications given by CA are relied more than on me. I am the businessman, I am the proprietor, I am the sole borrower. More than me, the belief is more on those papers, and accordingly they deal with that. And of course, another complaint is that, particularly in respect of those companies which are reasonably doing well, that the bankers are more interested in marketing their other products. It could be housing loan, vehicle loan, cross-selling, insurance, whatever it is. That's also a fact of the matter. And developmental role is almost has happened to be nil. Developmental role was there some time back, but it is actually totally has gone down. And even the changes what the bankers have made to improve their financing and then comfort MSMEs like centralized processing also did not really help much, because the centralized processing cells have only made more layers, but the touch which is very much required with the borrower has actually gone, because the borrower is neither at the branch, nor at the CPC, nor at the controlling office. He has to take care of all the three. There is no real touch and engagement with the borrower. This is what the MSMEs say, which mostly some of you may agree also. But more important to discuss also is what bankers say. Because after all, the fact of the matter is that it's banks who are the major players in lending a formal finance at a relatively reasonable rates. It's a fact. So what do they say? The important fact that is there commonly in the mind of the bankers is that the MSMEs, particularly micro and small, are more sensitive to the stress, and failure rate is high because of the lack of the capability for them to absorb shocks. Because the capacity to absorb any changes is limited, the sensitivity is more. I am ab initio taking higher risk Therefore, I need to be very, very careful. In the process, the carefulness also leads to delays in decision making. And another complaint is the information submitting, the submission of information documents required for a processing of any application, as I initially said about as per the framework laid down by the government and the Reserve Bank of India. Those discipline is lax. There is no much of discipline in properly submitting documentation in time for me to understand and accordingly deal with the company unit. And even if the information is given, I have some kind of a doubt to rely on the correctness of the information, even if sometimes comes with the CA also. So the reliance is a little bit low. And in respect of compliances of the regulatory compliances are also low. And the fact of the matter is that the banks are relatively busy, particularly in some segment, while handling your, our government schemes and other schemes. They are not able to engage much with the borrower. As Mr. Srinivas Garimella made a point that majority of our micro units are proprietors. The fact that a company is being run by a single person or a family, he may not have knowledge in the areas of finance. He may be knowing basics, but he is more into his business. So for him to understand that these are my requirements, accordingly only I can go ahead. There should be a engagement. There should be a common touch. There should be some amount of trust and engagement with the banker and the borrower. Then only things will move. If he is treated just like any other person, a partnership or a company or a corporate, things won't work at all. And there are one more normal complaint that the banks make is that the promises that are being made by the MSEs are generally not fulfilled. Of course, same is the case from our side also. They also might say, bankers would say that they will deliver a sanction, but they don't do it in time. But same is the complaint. Particularly when even a banker actually extends a little bit of helping hand to the banker on to a unit on a promise that he would repay the same promptly or he would submit document promptly, it doesn't happen. So there is some kind of another important issue is cash transactions. The extent or the amount of the percentage of the cash dealings and cash transactions in the overall business is difficult to guess. Some will be 80-20, some 70-30, 50-50. So banker needs to have a different way of approach towards his understanding of the company. What is the extent with which the dealings happen? They also are aware that they can't help the dealings of cash in some businesses. But what is the extent of it? Because my assessment, my due diligence, all those things, financing, everything purely depends on the paper, the figures, which are actually their accounted transactions, not cash transactions. And last and the final question is why only banks? Is ecosystem helping the MSMEs? What is the extent of the other stakeholders who are equally involved in helping MSMEs? What is their role? Why only banks? Banks are only part, despite the fact that they are important, stakeholder. Having said about the bankers and the MSME, I also would like to quickly talk about what is the observations of an onlooker. The observations of an onlooker is that there is, as on date, the mutual trust between the banker and the borrower is at a lower, excepting a few exceptions. Exceptions also will happen for a time being, 1 or 2 years, depending on the engagement that the branch manager has with the company. The moment the branch manager gets transferred, at the moment the company's fortunes slightly come down, the trust level again goes up and down. That is a biggest factor. And the consolidations and mergers of the current banking industry are just not going to help the businesses. Simple reason: bigger the bank, the stricter the structure. The stricter the structure, fewer the flexibility areas, because larger banks simply go by the structure. They will not deviate because of the size. So the moment I strictly follow the structure, the areas of flexibility are limited and less. The fewer the flexibility areas, it is difficult to do dynamics. And dynamics are the key for the micro and small businesses. Their businesses have huge amount of vicissitudes, changes, shocks, stresses. So those dynamics have to be dealt as and when they appear, as and when they happen. If I cannot handle those dynamics because I don't have flexibility areas, the journey with the MSME, particularly micro and small, will never be smooth. However structural changes we bring in, however things that we do, it cannot be smooth as long as the flexibility of the banker or the financier vis-a-vis the MSME is at a relatively good level. It's difficult to define what level the flexibility has to be there. And fact is that the experiences of the corporate NPAs are still haunting the banks. That background is there always. And some banks did make an effort to actually migrate their processes into technology solutions so as to make things quicker because of the size. But what happens is whenever they move to the technology solutions, those technology solutions are actually straitjacketed. They don't allow any flexibility. They just give a loan. That's it. Subsequent monitoring, managing, dealing with the issues, they don't help. They normally help in handling a larger volume of businesses. So the fact lies, after having talked about the issues of the MSME, challenges MSMEs face and challenges banks also face vis-a-vis each other, and what is the actual obtaining outside, the only solution is, or rather not only, one of the solutions is, there is a need for a third party or some other institution or some other framework to see that these two important stakeholders, that is bankers and business, gel well. To make them gel well, there should be somebody who has enough time to engage with the customer, engage with the business operations, and also engage with the banker, so that both can see each points of view, and then the flexibility will increase gradually. With that kind of role is very, very important nowadays compared to maybe a decade back. As long as the existing structure remains as it is, as long as the system is like this, without the help of a third party like TIHCL, which will play a role to liaise, to coordinate, to see that both the parties come together and then at least make the finance available in time, adequately, for at least those companies which are doing well, and more particularly those companies, those units which are suffering from incipient sickness. The incipient sickness should not lead to final sickness, should not be killed. If the incipient sickness is handled efficiently, professionally, properly by the bankers, the percentage of sickness comes down drastically, when NPS come down drastically. But handling of incipient sickness is a it is very simple if you look at the paper, but on ground, very, very important and very, very difficult also. It's not that easy. To handle incipient sickness and then get the finance required and then allow the company to move forward to become healthy is a very, very critical job, crucial job, which TIHCL would like to play and are mandated to play. And anyway, as a few things which we normally talk to the bankers whenever the issue is there is like, you try to provide finance based on your orders, not based on balance sheet. We say that, and we say whenever a limit is fixed, why don't you fix a limit range, not a limit, not X. It is X minus 2 to X plus 2, some kind of range. NPA is not taboo. And allow flexibility of drawings, repayments, orders, etc. These are all the kind of talk that we do with the bankers. Similarly, for the case of MSMEs, we talk about skill development and increased compliance. Unless compliance is increased, unless the required papers and documents are given to the bankers, however small they are, however limited they are, the comfort level won't go up with the bankers. And another thing is, of course, that is all are aware, a forward-looking, what should I say, dispensation to accept technology in all areas. Nowadays, we are getting lots of, technology solutions. They have to be adopted. At the same time, as I earlier said, in view of the corporate NPAs haunting the bankers and Reserve Bank of India's guidelines and circulars of what tantamounts to a fraud or what tantamounts to a red flag, around 47 points are there. It means even a slightest deviation in the operations can be treated as a red flag, and I can make it. Bankers can say it's a fraud. To the extent even if the finance that is given to the purpose of X is used for a purpose of Y could be business Y only. It is a fraud. To that extent. Basically, these are all have come from the corporate background. If we apply all these things to the MSME, they will never survive. So what is required is the trust. There are plenty of examples which bankers also might not know because of the needs, the necessities of the MSME companies. They use finance for so many purposes. So that trust is very important because bankers still recognize very seriously that willful default and fraud is a serious offense. Very, very serious offense. So with that kind of understanding, also MSMEs have to deal with the bankers, or we can tell them. That's what I thought I would talk about. The challenges. Okay, coming to the opportunities. Of course, opportunities. People who are at the ground level, who are actually operating, soiling their hands, they may have an idea certainly, but at the same time, what we feel sitting here is that COVID-19 has emerged as a window of opportunity to India for a considerably long time to come. Technology is coming relatively cheap and coming to doorstep. So only a question is that somebody else has to actually bring the technology, put it at the ground level and make it work. Because day one it won't work. No technology can work from day one, even though they promise. And e-marketing and sales through digital platforms gaining larger ground. That is, we need to adopt it. And the capital is no longer constrained compared to earlier. Even till today, we also have got a couple of people who have got enough capital, enough money to pump, even though the companies may be, slightly under stress. They have money. Of course, the problem is that the amount of return they look is slightly higher compared to anybody else. But the capital is there. In case they find the business is profitable and then viable, capital is there even now. And of course, government support is very much there, at least the way of schemes, finances, money that is being given. But the extent of delivery, it depends on the company to company. And as I keep production basis for the technology products, technology companies and the autos are growing up. That's what the records say. If that is the case, then there is an ample opportunity for the MSMEs who have got the right attitude and the right dispensation towards business to come up. That's what I would like to say. Any questions and answers I would like to take, or now or later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. D.V. Suresh Kumar, for giving us an overview about the organization. And we definitely agree with you that it's a very effective platform or an organization that engages both with the industry as well as the bankers for supporting the SIC units. May I now invite Dr. B. Yerram Raju, Advisor and Director from TIHCL, to kindly speak on resolution and challenges faced by the MSEs.
Good afternoon to all of you. Khyati, Mr. Ramakant, Mr. Bhaskar Reddy, Mr. Srinivas, all the MSMEs have gathered to share their wisdom, and all those who are attending this webinar. First of all, let me thank Federation for giving us this opportunity to place before you what all that the TIHCL does is for the benefit of the MSMEs, particularly when I say MSME, I mean micro, small manufacturing enterprises, not middle enterprises. Because we focus more on the manufacturing sector. If the manufacturing sector does not function, services sector will not be able to function on a sustainable basis. It is with this fundamental belief that the government thought that there must be a separate institution to deal with several issues that the micro and small enterprises face, because they don't have a godfather to talk on their behalf. They, like Mr. Suresh mentioned and the President mentioned, There are a number of issues that these micro small enterprises face. They are peculiar to the MSMEs only. And how are these issues really taken to the resolution platform? Because resolution does not arise just by engaging a costly consultant. We have seen quite a few of the micro small enterprises that come to us. At least 200 enterprises have walked into our office. For one thing or the other, though we have actually funded around 67 enterprises, and we have also extended extension support to the enterprises. The way we proceed, I think it is better we explain in a greater detail. The moment an entrepreneur comes, we are like a doctor. We are not like a typical lender of these days who feels that he is more of a money lender than a development lender. We are like a doctor who will treat right at the incipient stage. The moment you get a headache, it does not just mean that your headache is coming only because of some stress in the mind. It is coming from different sources. It can come from different sources. What are those sources? So for this, we take up carefully the diagnosis. Diagnosis is a very important component of ours, for which today lenders do not have much time. They don't have time to spend with entrepreneur. Therefore, we fill that gap. When the entrepreneur comes, we talk to him very pleasantly, ask him what exactly he has gone about, right from the day he started the enterprise to the current day, and how he landed himself in the problems. Most of the enterprises that come to us, they come to us when the sword is on their neck. Whatever be the problem they have, they come to us at a very critical point of time. So first thing is we should understand where exactly is the problem coming from. It can come from even from his own partners or from his own family or partners' families. We have found some enterprises where certain partners, families have not been, collaborative to each other or friendly to each other. Partners had to divide and the firms have collapsed. That type of entrepreneurship is existing, and we need to really understand what exactly is behind this problem. We also find out very many issues that he faces as a person, because from out of all, every entrepreneur starts his enterprise with a motive of running on profit. He wants to run his business. He doesn't want to sell his property. That's not the purpose with which he starts. But today, at the end of 10 years, 15 years, he finds himself in such a piquant situation where the only house that he has is put to sale just because he offered it as a collateral security. And this is where we come into picture. We counsel him, we counsel the banks, and we arrive at a solution which is possible at the nearest possible time. And for this purpose, our executives are fully trained. Any entrepreneur can log into the site from anywhere in Telangana and post his details and post his problem. Then our executive comes online, talks to him or her, asks them to come down for a discussion on a specified appointed day, or request him to show his unit on the video. We see the line arrangement of the machinery. Many a time we find that there is some disconnect that obtains in the lineup of the machinery itself, where he loses time in the entire supply chain. And where exactly is the link getting disturbed in the supply chain? And we counsel how to strengthen this supply chain. The other most important thing we do is give him some comfort to deal with a lender. Well, how does this comfort come? It doesn't come about just by offering collateral security. It comes about by making him a more compliant person. This we do straight from day one. The main condition we impose on him, I would say, is that he should immediately set up a computer. He should digitize his operations. He should go in for a soft ERP solution for which we show the way. In fact, up to 1.5 crores of turnover, there is a free software, Java software ERP available for the entrepreneur. And most of the micro entrepreneurs can get this free software. So we counsel him, we make him engage with this Java ERP. The idea is that we will be able to guide online the entrepreneur when his purchases take a wrong direction, or when his sales dip, and or when his debtors are delaying the payments. We come to his rescue. The other important thing we do is counseling him, mentoring him, and then showing him the comfort that yes, the environment is very hostile, either in finances or in markets or in payments or in dealing with people. Because as a proprietor, he has to deal with a banker, he has to deal with a supplier, he has to deal with a buyer, he has to deal with every person he has to deal. Single person he has to deal. At the same time, he has to look after the production that comes up to his standard. We found in many a time very good product has failed because of bad packaging. And even a little substandard product has succeeded because of excellent packaging. And we therefore look at the products, the processes, how he is proceeding, we will observe, and thereafter we will counsel him the way he should proceed. It is quite likely that the solutions are well within his domain, but he is not able to see the solution. And we will show him the solution, where exactly it lies. And then many a time, most of the people say, sir, because of incentives, we are being killed. If the incentives have come on time, we would not have been what we are. But when we noticed the statements of accounts, we found that he has upfront paid for general insurance or life insurance demanded by the bank even before the working capital actually started. Second, he is, the moment the retail loans portfolio is getting strengthened, the first culprit is MSME. He is enticed to buy a car, or he is enticed to buy a house. Once he buys a house, it becomes a collateral for the MSME. And all the installments of all these loans also are debited to the working capital. So there is a dip in the working capital on a continuing basis due to the installments, everything, insurance, installments, and the actual working capital gets short by a minimum of 30 to 35% upfront. This is a real problem of the entrepreneur. So what we have to do, when the incentives don't come, but if there is a priority, then we have to really counsel and take up the issue with the government and see that the incentive comes in time. Failing which, we offer him bridge finance. This bridge finance is given until the incentive reaches. When the incentive comes, automatically the loan gets closed. And bridge finance carries 10%. All our loans carry only 9 to 10% rate of interest, that too simple rate of interest. No interest rate is compounded in our books. So he gets the comfort, and we give him a fairly good moratorium period. It is not that somebody should tell us how much moratorium should be given. It is what his cash flows should speak. So we go through the cash flows. We tell him, your cash flows do not permit you to pay the installments on time. Therefore, you take a longer time. So we counsel him for a reasonable moratorium. We give him the reasonable moratorium. See that he gets the comfort of payment, and comfort of payment not only to us, but also to all the co-lenders. Today, NBFCs are co-lending agencies. We are also co-lenders. We give either margin money, a bridge finance, critical amount finance, or stressed amount finance, or we give the entire revival package. It is for the bank to pick up and extend the support, because we monitor the unit for the entire period of revival and restructuring. It is not as though that it just comes to us, takes the assistance, and then we forget about him. We continuously monitor the account. Even those accounts where he has not borrowed from us, or he has not really engaged himself in financial support with us, we continuously engage with him. We counsel him. Therefore, it is not just finance that alone matters. Ultimately, everything gets into the silo of finance. Whether he is facing a financial difficulty at home, he is not able to pay the high college education fees for his children, or if he is not able to pay the loan installments on the housing, everything falls into the silo of finance, financial irregularity. Therefore, we'll counsel him where exactly to seek this. My counsel, my advice to most of the entrepreneurs is that they should learn to comply with the stipulations of a lender. How to do this? First of all, you should know what the regulations are. What are the terms and conditions that to which he is agreeing? Most of the entrepreneurs, I'll tell you, do not see or do not read the guarantee agreements that they are signing. Do not read the loan agreements they are signing, because they have very little time. Paper is placed before them, they sign on every page, every place where the banker asked him to sign, and the implications he does not know. So when he comes to us, we will tell him first the implications of all the agreements that he has undergone, and tell him that these are the problems that you are currently facing, and this is the type of solution that is available with us, and you can safely run your enterprise, because the continuity of running the enterprise is extremely important. Second thing we look at is the capacity utilization. Can we take the capacity that he is having today, if he is having supposing 20%, 30%, can we take the capacity utilization from 30% to 50% in 6 months? If we can take it to in 6 months to 50%, can it go to 80% at the end of the year? Can it go to 100% at the end of 18 months? And this is the way in which we monitor, make sure that the entrepreneur really gets into this capacity utilization. It is not enough if he utilizes capacity, but he should be also able to utilize it profitably. Therefore, we will tell him how to really raise the margins of his product and pricing. Many people do not know how to price their product, because the neighbor is pricing a product at a particular price. I must be competitive, therefore I price my product only like this. But there are ways in which he can price the product a little higher than his neighbor, despite the same type of product being manufactured by him, by assuring deliveries faster, by packing the things better, and by showing the buyer a distinct advantage of buying from him. These are some of the issues that we really discuss with him and tell him that these are the ways in which he should proceed. The other most important thing from MSMEs, I find from their side, everybody thinks that he knows all because he is almost knowledge insulated. Most entrepreneurs shut their minds. Only when the problem comes, they open their minds up. Therefore, they should keep their minds open right from day one because knowledge is very vast. They do not know what is happening in the neighboring state, in the neighboring country for the same product. What type of technologies are coming? Many a time, because of the overconfidence he has on his own technical abilities, he buys a second-hand machinery. He thinks that he can produce a wonderful product with that machinery, by refurbishing the machinery. But the other country, which adopts the latest technology, produces a superior product and snatches away the market. And in these areas, we give him technological advice and we tell him where markets lie for him, and we make him confident that he can run the enterprise very profitably. Bridge finance is one thing that is available with us. I think several entrepreneurs are finding it extremely convenient. At least 16 to 17 entrepreneurs have availed from us. Now, in this bridge finance, though we give only up to 25 lakhs, that is a cap we have kept with the aim that more and more enterprises can be given if the cap is at 25 lakhs. If it is 1 crore, only one entrepreneur can be given. If it is 25 lakhs, 4 entrepreneurs can be given. That too of the micro level or the small level. And therefore, we feel that there is enough opportunity available for him to grow, but he should know where the opportunity lies. This is where we open up opportunities for him. We show him the opportunities, where exactly the markets lie. And if necessary, we will link up the markets and we will link up the brands, and we tell him how to go about for branding. These are a little advanced things. And we also believe that unless he learns to scale up, he will end up in collapse. He has to scale up gradually, and this scaling up we pursue. That's why I said when we concentrate on capacity utilization. He must move from micro to small, from small to medium. And when he is small, if he wants to go for a medium scale, the main obstacle he finds is at the NSE or BSE. When he wants to go, he has to spend upfront about 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs. And this is a considerable money for a small enterprise in terms of the working capital. Therefore, that much of investment we have scope to give. We will give up to 50 lakhs for an entrepreneur to scale up his enterprise if we find the enterprise to be continuously moving on profits. Of course, during the last 2 years, nobody can expect a wonderful balance sheet. And assessing enterprises by way of balance sheet is a sure way of bringing funeral to the enterprise. According to me, micro, small enterprises must be lent on cash flow basis and on order-based lending. And this is the major solution that has to be found from the various sources. And in this effort, we are there behind him. And so far as we are concerned, we definitely go through the balance sheets. We definitely go through the tax returns only to make sure that in hindsight, how he has performed, so that he would not commit the mistakes when he is moving ahead. This is the main reason with which we call for all the documents. Not that document will be the basis for a future assessment of this man's capability. Enterprise's capability lies not on the balance sheet, but on a variety of things that I have spoken of. Technology, ability to produce differently the same product and show differently the same product. These are all various aspects through which we give counseling and advice. And we feel that symptoms of failure should be located as soon as possible so that headache will not become a cancer. This is our main motto. And we believe in trust. And we trust in the entrepreneur. First comfort we should give is to listen to him carefully as much as possible. And after all, when a person goes with a headache or a problem or a fever to the doctor, if the doctor is very irritant, then the patient runs away. It is not, because banks do not have that much of patience, and we are here to substitute that. We will provide that comfort to the banks as well as the entrepreneurs. We build bridges of understanding between the two. We believe in trusting the entrepreneur and make sure that banks also trust the entrepreneur who comes to us through the various means that we adopt. And every, we are a lean company of 12 people, but we have 12 consultants more. Our executives engage themselves with the consultants and also the entrepreneurs in a very friendly manner, ascertain what exactly goes wrong and gives these solutions. Thank you very much. You're welcome to raise any query.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yerram Raju, for giving us an overview and also the mechanism on how one can avail the services from TIHCL. And I request the members, in case if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. And the chair of the IDC committee would be taking a moderated Q&A later, once we end the session. And we have the last presentation by Ms. Divya Sai Sree, also from TIHCL, who's going to share some case studies with us.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I thank you for the opportunity, and I take this opportunity to talk about our internal stages and procedures in revival of a stressed entrepreneur. Okay, whenever a stressed entrepreneur visits us and asks us support, we do engage them in different consultant for the expert opinions. So I would like to share 2 success stories of TIHCL and give you the complete different stages of TIHCL. So the first one is about an young entrepreneur who was just graduated as mechanical engineer with no enterprising background. And the second success story is about a middle-aged man who inherited his business from his forefathers and having 20 years of experience in dealing with the particular sector. And talking about this entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, he started a firm in 2013 after coming back from Australia after completing his graduation. He started a manufacturing unit of silica, and it has taken him 2 years to create entire setup, and he started his commercial production in the year 2015 after taking a loan from SFC. The business, when he started the business, he expected export orders, and hello, sorry.
Yeah, you can continue. You can continue.
You are audible.
Oh, okay. When he ordered the machinery after taking a loan from SFC, the machinery vendor delivered the machinery not on the agreed time, but at a later point of time. And meantime, he got sanctioned incentives from TIHCL scheme. About around 21 lakhs. Meanwhile, due to the irregularities that has to be paid to the banker due to delay caused by the machinery vendor and not serving the repayments regularly, the primary lender has issued a demand notice to clear all the overdues, or otherwise he told that the legal actions would be taken. When this was the problem going on with the entrepreneur, he appealed to Principal Secretary INC Mr. J.S. Ranjan, and then he has diverted this case to TIHCL for better understanding of sickness and how it can be resolved. After we got the case, it has been allocated to our expert consultant, and our expert consultant has given a detailed report why the entrepreneur has facing this struggle. The first problem was the delay in the supply of machinery, and the second reason which he didn't tell to the bank or any other people, because of his superstitious beliefs. That is, the natural calamity hit the factory shed, and the shed has been completely collapsed. With this private fund selling his property, he got it repaired. And the second one is high cost of money borrowed from the primary lender, because the repayment schedule was improper. They levied penal interest. So as a revival package from TIHCL, so we have helped the entrepreneurs by providing him critical amount funding of 25 lakhs. With this, his all the irregularities in the primary lender's account has come down, and we could have with this CAF product, the interest rate came down because they stopped levying all this penal interest. And then as this case was referred by Principal Secretary, we have given our recommendation to send to Industries Department, telling that this is a genuine case and he has struggled because of the reasons like his control. So we have requested Industries Department to release incentives on priority basis, so that this entrepreneur could withstand his in his difficult times. And coming to the second case, Suresh Textiles. He's an entrepreneur who has 20 years of experience in the textile business. He has semi-automated current markets. He wanted to upgrade he wanted to upgrade all the looms. So he sold his all semi-automatic looms and purchased 16 fully automatic looms by taking a loan from SFC. So here the problem is when he has taken the loan from SFC in the year 2016, the loan got sanctioned, but the loan was released in the year 2017. In meantime, what happened was in the month of June, July, the GST got into effect, and the vendor levied 18% of GST on purchased fully automatic looms. So whatever the capital he saved for his working capital arrangement have been utilized here. So he didn't have working capital to run the machinery, to run the unit. So this entrepreneur was referred to us by primary lender himself. So he told us to go come visit our TIHCL. So the same case has been handed over to our expert consultant, and the consultant has told that the main problem was the first one is inadequate financing. Whatever the finance saved for the working capital arrangement has been used in paying the GST, and subsequently, because of this cash crunch, the unit was closed for months. So when we went and spoke with the primary lender about the difficulty faced by the entrepreneur, so even the primary lender was able to understand his genuinity of the problem and extended further finance of 14 lakhs. And for this 14 lakhs, whatever the margin is required is provided by TIHCL. That comes to around 3.74 lakhs. And he restarted the industry again. Restart due to previously this company was closed for 6 months due to crash crunch, and post our revival, it has it started the commercial production, and within no time, within 6 months of time, he could reach the turnover of 36 lakhs. And later point of time, due to COVID, another 6 months the unit was closed. After in the month of July 2020, and the entrepreneur again started his commercial production. Within 5 months, he could reach the turnover target of 25 lakhs. So this is how our entrepreneurs got help from TIHCL. Even in the difficult time of COVID situation, we have provided every entrepreneur with the moratorium to pay at later point of time. So when whoever wants to visit and seek support from TIHCL can directly go to our website, and there is a link under the tab called Apply Now. When you click on the Apply Now, with a click of a button, you can reach TIHCL for the support. And I thank everyone for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Divya, for sharing the case studies, and definitely it was one kind of a motivation, and I think our members have, do you want to say something? Enlightening also, President says. So also there are a couple of questions that we have received in the chat box, and also so I request Mr. Srinivas Gerimilla, who is the chair of our Industrial Development Committee, to please moderate the Q&A session. And in case if there is anybody who would like to ask, I once again request you all to put it in the chat box so that the moderator can take your question.
Okay. Thank you, TIHCL team, for all the good words and the help that you can offer to sick and potentially sick industries. So not many questions. The first question, which is relevant to, is many states have come out with a policy for sick units. Can the Telangana government have something for this? Suresh Kumar garu, lekapothe Yerram Raju garu, one of you can answer.
Yes. Telangana government is also actively considering revival policy to be put in place. But then basically it boils down to assessing the enterprise properly, why he has fallen sick. And that job is done currently by the TIHCL. That will continue. And therefore, TIHCL will be the operational instrument for the revival policy, even when it comes. So whatever issues that sick or incipient sick or a problematic enterprise faces, they are welcome to come and seek support from us, irrespective of the policy being in place. Now here, this is the only state which has an institution of this nature, because fairly realizing that existing institutions are not capable of tackling the entrepreneurial problems. Basically, they don't have the time, or they can't pay the attention to the entrepreneur that is very much required, because we have to first talk to him. How much time is there for the banker to really talk to him when a problem arises? And second, I would say that the dues to the government, basically when you are asking for revival policy, we have seen revival policies of all the states. What they are performing in terms of the policy execution, look at, it is paltry. I think we have, without policy also, performed 67 units we have revived, and 1800 labor have been saved of their exit, and 88 million or 8.8 crore, 8 crores
88
of 88 crores rupees of assets have been really rebuilt, and that is a significant. In this much of achievement, you will not find in states where revival policy is said to be in place, because I have seen all the revival policies. Basically, the problem arises insofar as sovereign Jews are concerned. When the sovereign Jews occur, how do you deal with them? Sometimes you may have to talk to the commercial tax people, ask them to postpone the tax action for some time or give remission. So where the policy lies, they will have to necessarily take the permission from the higher authorities. Here we speed up the action process. Second, the dues to the labor, there is no compromise. We would say that if not today, tomorrow you have to pay. Therefore, make your decision today to pay the labor promptly. The major issues that arose was when the migrant labor have left, they left in a hurry. They did not take their wages. They left in a hurry. And when they came back and asked for wages, several enterprises have shown the door to them. This was not the expectation. So we had to counsel the enterprises that do not try to earn at the expense of another human being's life. So we counsel them. The third is income tax dues. They have to be dealt with in the manner in which the government desires to be dealt with. There is no escape for that. You know that, and everybody knows that. And here it is the problem of accounting. Because the books are not kept in good shape, some decisions have been taken by the sovereign entity. And if you are able to prove the contrary, you will get the remission. But you are not able to prove. Therefore, what we suggest, that's why 67 enterprises have been digitized today with us. And we counsel every enterprise that comes to us, first you digitize your operation. What happens is everything goes on record. Somebody can pull out a paper in a jiffy and then show that this is my record. How can you say that my GST is not paid? GST has been paid. I can show the proof. So this type of counseling is required. And so the revival policy also addresses many of these issues. Sometimes they will say the power dues is another issue. And what we noticed was that if given some time, they would be able to clear. But that time is, how much time had to be given? It depends on the cash flows. Who will tell about these cash flows to a power regulator? There must be somebody. Is either a federation like FTCCI or an association, or somebody, some godfather must go and argue on his behalf and then get the power dues. Sometimes the tariff rates themselves are quite high. And who should negotiate the tariff rate? Accepting unitedly, people should go and argue for them. And these are some of the things that go into the policy makeup of the revival policy. Revival policy currently is under examination. Maybe that after these GHMC elections are over, they may announce the revival policy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your answer and also for laying down the priorities that you interject and help the entrepreneurs in prioritizing the payments. The next question, sir, is working in the area of industrial sickness, does TIHCL have a sector watch mechanism to identify sickness well in time or before time, and also advise various stakeholders, including government and other machinery appropriately?
Yes, we do undertake sectoral studies. After COVID had come, we have not done the sector studies, but pre-COVID, we have done the sector studies.
Do you also
In
give
fact,
a
we have-
warning beforehand on
Before
potential
we give a
sickness?
warning also. Yes.
Okay.
We
Thank you,
also
sir.
tell clearly that, for example, rice milling industry, we said we would not touch the rice milling industry. Forging industry, we said we will not touch the forging industry. The reasons are quite many because of the history they have created in running their enterprises, either in procurement or in dispensation of the delivery of the materials to the buyers. There were lots of delays, and sovereign Jews, they were very irregular. They were making all demands on the government. So government also felt that certain sectors need to be cautiously approached. Whereas for the rest of the sectors, example, pharma is a very prosperous sector, and it has a lot of prospects. Therefore, when an enterprise becomes sick, it is incumbent even on the large and medium enterprises to come to the rescue of the small. But this dialogue has to be established. And here also we play a role. Telangana Industrial Clinic will play a role. Similarly, there are certain sectors, textiles is the most pressing sector for the state. State use this sector as a sector that should be given every support, whether it is handlooms, whether it is chemical, precision textiles, or your printed textiles, any type of variety of textiles. That's why Warangal Textile Park is getting established, and Sircilla there is a textile park. New apparel textile park also is coming up near Sircilla, with the help of many of the entrepreneurs who have shown a lot of interest, coming even from Tamil Nadu and the neighboring states. We established their units here. Then another thing, important thing is food processing sector. We lay a lot of emphasis, and food processing sector, there are very good prospects of growth, and we have actually studied how the TSI pass functions and what costs are getting incurred. And we have also shared that study with you, but it is an old study, and this needs to be, of course, updated. There are certain costs that are getting incurred upfront by the entrepreneur. How to reduce these costs is that should be the attention. That should be the attention of the federations and societies, associations mostly, because upfront costs must be reduced. If an entrepreneur spends away his margin money even before the enterprise is set up, then where will he go? To start with, he becomes sick. So how to avoid this is our concern. That is where we come into picture. We try to caution the enterprises that you get into these sectors, you will be very happy. If you get into those sectors, you will not be happy. But my suggestion is MSMEs should not live in isolation. They should learn to live in clusters. If they are in clusters, there is scope for cross-holding of risk. Unfortunately, not many clusters. We don't have big claim in Telangana relating to clusters, unlike in Tamil Nadu or Gujarat or in Maharashtra. We should build more and more clusters, and I would request the federation, whenever entrepreneurs come, please ask them to form into clusters. Clusters do not necessarily mean that they should be only in a compact area. They could be a little dispersed, but at the same time, the entrepreneurs must get united. They should have one voice, and they should combine their resources to buy the raw materials cheap in wholesale and sell in bulk when they unite and sell, and they should brand themselves. When they unite, they have a scope for branding themselves. so that uniformity in type of production will come. So the advantages of clusterization must be grinded into the enterprises. And this is my submission to everyone, sir.
Thank you. Sure, thank you, sir. One last question is, of course, do you take up individual cases to help industries in case they're not sick, but some industries facing some problem with bankers or financiers? Do you take up such individual cases?
Surely, we will take up strategic counseling, strategy advice. They may not require money,
Okay,
but they require right strategies to move.
understand.
There we come into picture. We can do even projectization for new entrepreneurs who want to come. If he wants to set up a particular project, we can even projectize
Wonderful.
that particular entrepreneur.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So basically that answers all the questions. And on the Federation side, in case you require some assistance from the FTCCI, our secretariat is strong. They will take it up. You kindly take our assistance, whatever help is required to help promote the MSMEs. On this note, I thank you very much, the complete TIHCL team, and hand over to Kathy for further on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Srinivas Garimella. And one request to all the members, suppose if you think you have more questions, you can please send it to us. And we will forward it to the officials from TIHCL. Also, we will be, for the next issue, review issue, our research magazine, so to say, we will cover the success stories of, all the case studies, and then kind of, inform our members. So in case, if ever, like we don't wish, but if ever they need to use this service, they will have more, knowledge on it. And with regard to clusters also, what you said, Mr. Yerram Raju, we will definitely work on this also. And maybe we'll speak to you after the event once again and then see how we can take it up. But we are also very keen, and we have been talking to the state and central government to have more clusters in the state, which I think is the need of the hour. I now request our Vice President, Mr. Anil Agarwal, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to propose vote of thanks. Sir, there are many reasons that could have caused a company to become sick, and the reasons could be internal, external, or combination of both. Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited, in short TIHCL, is digging deeper to analyze the causes and trying to fix the problem to the maximum extent possible. Sir, Suresh Kumar, MD, CEO, Telangana Industrial Health Clinic Limited, Dr. B. Yerram Raju, Advisor and Director, TIHCL, Government of Telangana. Thank you, sir, for your valuable presence and giving the detailed information about the TIHCL. I also thank Ms. Divya Sai Sree for her participation and presenting the case studies. The Federation would thank and appreciate the Government of Telangana for their efforts put in to strengthen the MSEs, and we urge every MSE units to utilize such services whenever in need. God prohibit, it should not happen, but in case they need, they can anytime approach TIHCL. We also thank Honorable Minister K.T. Ramarao, our Industries Minister, and J.S. Ranjan, Principal Secretary, Department of Industries, Government of Telangana, under whose advice we planned this program today. We thank TIHCL officials for interacting with our members and throwing light on functioning of TIHCL, and also briefing the success stories in order to empower the MSEs. Sir, as suggested by Khyati ji, we will carry the success stories in our review magazine, in our journal. Definitely we'll carry in future, all our future magazines. We'll take the input from your good officers and we'll carry the success stories. I urge all the participants to regularly visit our website and stay connected about the forthcoming programs, workshops, and events. If you have still not followed us on the social media platforms such as Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, I request you to please follow us and stay updated. We have our research magazine being published every month. And if you'd like to avail a copy of the same, please do not hesitate to contact the FTCCI Secretariat.
I once again thank all of you for your active presence today and wish you a good evening. Sir, we also hope to organize an interactive session with MSc Industries along with TIHCL officials as per your convenience. That will be beneficial for both, sir. So as per the advice and as per your directions, we will organize this interactive session, sir. Once in 6 months, it will be beneficial for everybody. All MSc units, they can benefit with this interactive sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sorry, please go ahead, Dr. Yerram Raju.
Thank you very much. It has been
Thank you.
very
Thank you.
fruitful exercise.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. We close the session now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.